thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, December the 29th already.
A lot of things coming your way this morning. In addition to the things we just mentioned at the top of the show, we're also going to show you how to plan the perfect New Year's Eve party if you're scrambling to do that.
Yeah, Elmer Davis is here. He's brought in some wonderful smelling foods. So we're going to be enjoying some of that. And also Roger Ebert is going to review the new Steven Spielberg movie that you probably have heard a little bit about called Schindler's List. It's getting great reviews.
Yeah, a lot of talk, a lot of interest. Well, first though, today, computers. We're going to talk about that. They can open up whole new worlds for you and your family.
But opening up those new worlds requires a little more than just opening up a box and plugging a computer in.
Computer expert Frank Delaney joins us now with some help. Frank, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Thank you.
You brought in a fancy looking little laptop computer.
Brought in a little color laptop here that's got built-in color video and a lot of features.
Now, a lot of families are turning to this not only for education for their kids, but bookkeeping and things like that. Where do they start? Would they want to start with a little color laptop, or what's the ideal thing to go with?
Well, just any computer that basically has today's hardware requirements. Color, sound would be nice. A lot of the systems today are shipping with CD-ROM in them. But I think one of the most important things initially to remember is that a computer is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an educational experience for you and your family. It's no longer considered the boring old business machine. And it's important when you're learning computers, which is still a fairly complicated subject, to have that proper mindset so you get psyched up to do it correctly. The other thing is that a computer, when people ask me, can the computer do this, can the computer do that? Yes, because the computer is actually a brain, a programmable brain, and it can do anything. But it's important when you first get started to try to have 3 or 4 things that you're learning so that you don't get bogged down in a single application. And you have to have some early successes in order to get that incentive to keep on going. So you might want to try learning a word processing program, a spreadsheet program, play some games at the same time, and maybe get into an application like CD-ROM.
So much of this language is really very foreign to a lot of people who don't have a computer. A lot of people simply aren't interested in learning about computers. But for somebody that just gets a computer in the family, what's one of the first things that you should do in order to get everyone? I know the games are popular. Is that the best way to get everyone interested in learning how to use the computer?
Games are a great introductory experience for everybody from kids to adult, because games are easy to play and everybody gets involved with them, and particularly for children, it gives children the introduction of the computer as their friend.
And that's important, so you're not intimidated.
That's very important. And it's also important for older people.
Absolutely.
Well, no kidding, because there's still a lot of people in the working world that are just now starting to turn their offices over to computers. Not everybody's computerized yet, and it's really intimidating. Where do they start? For adults, I think, are almost more afraid. What would be a good program or way for them to start to get used to learning how to use it?
Well, computers have changed so much. In the early days, you basically just got the computer and that was it, no software. But most of the computers today come with a variety of software bundled or included with them. And most of the IBM compatible and the Apple computers come with a little library of software so that you can start working with things right away. An example of that would be a program like Microsoft Works or Lotus Works, which includes some of the basic building blocks of using a computer. It includes a word processor program, a spreadsheet program, a little database program.
How about if you share something that you can bring up on the computer screen so you can maybe illustrate one of your examples about a program or something you're doing?
The #1 application done on computers is word processing. And so if we go into one of the current word processing programs, this is WordPerfect 6.0. The #1 application done on personal computers is word processing because it's the simplest thing to do. And so basically you can go into a word processing program, write a letter to your aunt or do your Christmas list or things of this nature, and then as you get more familiar and more comfortable with it, then you can start doing things like perhaps a newsletter or bulletins or graphics, things of that nature.
And it's got the directions that even come right up in with the program.
Most of the programs today have fairly decent online help. The ease of using computers has evolved quite a bit over the years, but they're still not anywhere close enough to where they should be. It's not VCR technology where anybody can walk up and turn it on. It's basically, with computers still, despite programs like Windows supposedly making computers easier to use, you still have to spend some time learning computers today.
Sure. Are the instruction pamphlets that come with most computers, easy for anybody to understand how to follow some of these instructions, you know?
As-
Turn
as-
it on, put the disc in, that kind of stuff.
It's kind of interesting because in the PC world, the assumption is that the manual that comes with the program would be the worst manual for you to try to learn how to learn the program for. That's why there's been this enormous aftermarket of third-party books. And if you go downtown, all the major bookstores have WordPerfect Made Easy, Lotus Made Easy there, because when the software publishers write the programs, when they write the documentation, it makes sense to them. But then when it gets out to the end users, generally the users have a lot of problems understanding what the software publisher was talking about in the first place. And so you need a English translator in there between the computer people and the end user who knows nothing about
Sounds
computers.
like you might need a class, too, that might help.
Yeah, it would be nice. What about something else that you can bring up to show
Now,
us?
did you bring us something that shows us what fun you can have?
We have a great program here for fun. I have a lot of big people type games on here. This is one of the hottest games in the industry. This is Michael Jordan basketball,
Oh,
which
boy.
this is a game that brings us very close to virtual reality, because in this game here, as you can see, the court comes up, and
It's
this is
three-dimensional.
almost three-dimensional. And off the left of the court here, Michael Jordan's going to get his cue, and now he's going to slam dunk this. And as the game progresses, you really need to play this on a computer that has a joystick. But you actually become Michael Jordan. You're in there blocking shots, and you can call your own plays and all that there.
Isn't that great?
So that's exciting.
Yeah, well, you love the games.
And you need something like this for when you hit a stumbling block in a word processing program or something like that. You need to say, I'm not going to turn the computer off, but I'm going to go into something that's fun.
Time for some levity.
Right.
A lot of good advice for getting started.
Absolutely,
Now-
Frank. Thanks for joining us.
And there's probably some folks out there that might need more help than just our conversation here for getting started on their computer. And you can call Frank Delaney at 624-7286.
And you may have heard Frank's name before. That's because he can also be heard on the show Raw Bites. It's a computer news show every Thursday morning on public radio.
And up next, Luke.